Hi, it's Josh, and we've got a situation with INEOS. The news just came out, and it was a bit of a surprise that INEOS has paused production of the Grenadier and the Quartermaster. And it's interesting, I got a heads up on the 2nd of September when I got an email from INEOS Hambach because I'm going to be traveling to Europe in November, and I was trying to arrange a factory visit. And I was in contact with INEOS, and I had been recommended a hotel that Lynn Calder stays at when she goes to Hambach. And so I was firming up the dates. And on the 2nd of September, I got this email. It said, "Hello, Josh. I'm deeply sorry, but I've just been informed that because of a difficult situation for a supplier, the production schedule is not clear at the moment, and I can't schedule any factory tours now. We don't want to welcome visitors to an empty factory or to cancel the tour 2 days before your arrival, considering that you'll be booking flights, trains, or hotel. I will let you know if I have further information, but it won't be possible for November." Well, it's September the 2nd. I'm thinking, won't be possible in November. And so I thought sometimes car factories don't want customers around if they've got prototypes coming through the production line and things. So I've experienced that with BMW and Porsche. So I just sort of chalked it off as a, likely story. Well, then yesterday, the news broke that INEOS has paused production of the Grenadier due to the pending insolvency of a supplier that makes a trim component for the Grenadier, and that they can't continue production without it. So peeling back the onion a little bit, I'm putting guesstimates together that this is related to Recaro, the seat manufacturer, which filed bankruptcy at the end of July. So it is indeed a fact that that company is producing the seats for the INEOS Grenadier, and without seats, the INEOS Grenadier is not going to roll off a production line. So I guess INEOS is hoping that they can work their difficulties out, but Recaro is actually a licensed name that a seat manufacturing company now uses, and it's not related to Recaro Aircraft or some of their other large divisions, which are not insolvent. So it's just the Recaro Automotive that's having this bankruptcy filing. So all of a sudden, they don't have seats. So what do? They either have to help them out of their situation, and that's probably not out of the question entirely, but Jim Ratcliffe is the kind of guy that would do something like that. But INEOS isn't such a big company that they're probably a big customer for Recaro. I don't know. But if they were to find an alternate seat to put in the car, they'd have to go through testing, crash testing, airbags, all those things. I can only imagine what they would have to do to certify different seats in a Grenadier. So I think they're kind of between a rock and a hard place. So I guess November, there's no way they're going to be producing cars. So I guess canceling my tour wasn't wrong. But what it means for customers is the Grenadier is going to become scarce. If you have an order for a Grenadier and you're waiting for a 2025 because the production was supposed to start in late August, those might not begin production till the beginning of 2025 or whenever they sort of resolve this problem that they hope to resolve. I don't think it's a permanent problem. I just think it's a temporary problem, but it could be a little bit of a lengthy temporary problem. So if you can find an already built model year 24 on a dealer lot, I would consider it, because I can only see pricing going up as a result of this, because supply will begin to diminish and dealers only have so much inventory to sell, and they're going to have a dry spell. I already saw a $100,000 Grenadier on my local dealer's lot. So now's probably your best time to get one if you want to get one, but you make your own decision. Just know that if you ordered a 2025 Quartermaster or Grenadier, that it won't be produced until they iron out this problem. And it seems to be a rather major problem. Now, they're not naming the supplier, and they're calling it a trim piece, but if you read all the tea leaves and you do a little homework, you'll discover that the seat manufacturer is indeed bankrupt. And they just halted operations quite recently. So it's all unfolding, and it's unfortunate. But it's growing pains for INEOS. They're getting ready to roll out China and Mexico. They're still looking forward. And so I'm not worried that the company's going to fall apart. They're backed by INEOS, which is a $61 billion company in all of their different businesses. And that was in 2021. So they'll get through it. But what it means in the short term is prices may go up, supply may go down, and you'll have to, there's going to be a new batch of waiters that didn't realize they were going to have to wait as long as they did. I mean, I waited 3 years for my Grenadier, so now people are going to get to learn what it's like to see it, but want it, and wait for it. But the only other interesting piece of news is that in North America, Jim Ratcliffe's son, George Ratcliffe, has just been named president of the North American division of INEOS. And he was originally the commercial director for Arcane Works. If you recall, Arcane Works is the high-end arm where they're doing custom builds and so forth for Grenadier. And he seems to be more in the push for upmarket. And we're starting to see a lot of news clippings that say, and I'll find one, I'm going to read one, because it sort of says something that kind of is telling, because we always thought that, the Grenadier was built as an off-road on-purpose vehicle and so forth. So I'll quote, "What we wanted to achieve is no longer possible," says George Ratcliffe, who was recently promoted to the role of INEOS's Chief of North America. When the Grenadier project started, what we said was, we're going to build a really affordable, easy-to-fix utilitarian vehicle that was good for farmers. It's a gap in the market, but with the modern world and what you need, engines, pedestrian protection, rules, CO2 emissions, regulations on vehicles, you cannot do that anymore. So read into that what you will, but just know that George seems to have the push towards upmarket, and that will impact pricing. It might impact what they put inside the Grenadiers going forward, because it seems that Grenadier is going to start looking more competitively at on-road performance and $164,000 Grenadiers that people will buy. And so I just think that your opportunity to get the cheapest Grenadier you're ever going to see is now. And with this production delay, which they claim was due to changes in pricing and suppliers and so forth, and that's Recaro's statements, and you can do some homework on Recaro on the web, it's only putting upward pressure on pricing. So I just thought I'd share the news that it's real, and INEOS is in a little bit of a pickle. They're looking forward, they'll get through it. And I'm optimistic, and it's a great car, it's well received, and the only thing that I wonder is what kinds of, while they're sitting and waiting for the manufacturing changes, what other things might they be cooking up in their minds as far as features, functions, and production? Because if they can't start manufacturing cars until 2025, they can do R&D on other things, and it may impact some of that. But I would say don't be worried. If you have an order, you'll get it one day. Like I said, waiting's fun. We've all done it. But just thought I'd share that piece of news. And feel free to comment if you know anything or you've heard anything. I just thought it was an interesting and timely piece of news that people may not be aware of. It's kind of an odd one. And yet, we went through chip shortages and cars sitting on lots from other manufacturers a few years ago. So I guess this isn't that far out of character. It's just weird that it's something like a seat. And, it's unfortunate. So anyway, subscribe if you're interested in things about new cars. I've got some factory tours. I've got 3 other factory tours scheduled while I'm in Europe in November, but it won't be at the INEOS factory. I'll have to wait until next year for that one. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.